Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am your hostess with the mostest. It's Denise Dillihant here with the newest show, Millennial Marriages. Shout out to God for this amazing opportunity to be able to highlight love, God, millennialism, and all things that are love, God, and millennialism. You are tuned in to Believe Radio Bay Area. I am your host, Denise Dillihant. This is Millennial Marriages. I'm excited. Today's topic is love and respect. Today's show will be a quick one. This is just me tapping in to give you guys some words of wisdom about love, respect, and relationships. So I thank you all who tune in faithfully. Thank you all for your support in this. I have received so much support, so many inquiries for people who want to be guests. So if you would love to be a guest, go ahead and check out the bottom of the screen here. It says to contact me. You can contact me at Believe Radio Denise at gmail.com. Send me an email, and then let's exchange information. Let's get you on the show. All right, today's topic, love and respect. I love talking about all things love, all things God, and all things millennialism. Me being 10 years married now, I've had my husband be a guest here on the show, and he dropped so many awesome nuggets of wisdom. You all, please make sure that you are checking out the replay to these shows. Make sure you are checking out the replays. You don't want to miss some of this awesome information that comes pouring through here. I know there are many different shows, but this is the what's so unique about this show is I talk about relationships and love and young families and really how to keep God at the center of your relationships, whether it's your relationship with, the opposite sex, relationships with your parents, relationship with your children. Oh, good. Thank you. Bum, 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 bum. No doubt. Let's get it right. I still thank God for this opportunity, for etymology and the invitation, for my brother Curtis, who's helping me out. Love it, love it, love it. What's also so unique about this show is that I get to highlight love, um, but in a positive view. For some reason, the thing that sells the most when you talk about relationships are the dysfunctional ones. There's a whole lot of shows that highlight relationships, where they're smoking, they're drinking, they're fighting, or where it's multiple women fighting over one woman. I feel like the black family in particular, we need more positive role models, more positive media around families that are together, two parent households. We need to see more solid families, two parent households where the children are being raised in God and in love and, with a care that, we don't see so much in today's society. It does not get highlighted, in times past, we had a whole lot of different shows that really showed us what it would look like for black families to thrive, like the Cosby Show. And I hate now that Bill Cosby has come under so much fire and, he's being accused of so many things because what he stood for was something that the black culture needed. He and Felicia Rashad um, brought to media a view of a black family that operated in really an excellence from a mother and a father that were affluent. They had money, they had stature, they were articulate, they were, amazing people in their community, and they ran their homes, with respect. And they had multiple children. I love seeing the structure of the black family where they have multiple children and it's positive. The children are well taken care of and they're articulate and they're educated. And that's what I would love to highlight. And that's what I will highlight with this show, Millennial Marriages. My testimony and my family is always, I love putting us on display because we are truly a testament of what God can do if you give over your life to Him. I always say this, I would not have imagined 10 years ago that I would be or I would even have all that I have now. But it's only because I met the right black man and he and I got together and our souls not only were lit on fire, but we decided that we were going to build together. And we have built something so amazing and something we don't see and we don't highlight so much today. Not only are we pastors now, but we have 4 children, and they're each gifted in their own right. And I thank God for that, keeping my children and us raising them in God and raising them in a home where they know that they are loved and they have both of their parents. We need more of that in the media. We need more of that showcased, especially now. There was actually just a study that came out saying that we are at I believe, the lowest percentage of 40-year-olds that are not married. So there's a whole study going back to the 70s, 80s, and 90s and saying that I believe we are at the highest percentage of 40-year-olds that are not married. And for many of you guys who don't know, millennials fall underneath that. Millennials are actually the ages of about 28 to 40 are millennials. We are not the Gen Z, because a lot of the older generation hear millennial and they automatically think of the wild 18, 12, 13, 14, 18-year-old kids that are entitled and doing what. No. Millennials, we are the ones running the churches now, the businesses. We have the teenage children as well as the younger children. We are parents, business owners. We are the generation that has the strength now to carry on the legacy of the generation from before. We are now the ones that have to cook on the 4th of July. We are now the ones that people go to for prayer. We are the pillar now of our generations. So, millennials, why are we not marrying? Why are... There's also another study showing that a lot of millennials are opting to finish school and actually get housing and actually knock off some of those goals before marrying. They're also saying that millennials are at a lower percentage now of even wanting to be married. That now they're saying that our generation doesn't really value marriage like the generations before, but I think I say the devil is alive when it comes to that, because I am a living testimony and I am not an anomaly. There are hundreds of families within this age group that are not only married, but are thriving, have children and careers. And are in the church. They say our generation does not value God anymore. And I will say after, I think it was our generation that they actually did take the Bible out of the schools, take prayer out of the schools, with our generation. And it's been our job now to bring that into our homes. Now that they are not teaching about Jesus in the schools, they're actually banning it. You can't have a Bible at school. You can't read it in scriptures at school. But I digress. I'm going off on a whole different tangent. But I have so much to say about our generation and what is in the media when it pertains to us in our stability and our ability to create families and create wealth and to be outstanding members of our community and to make proper decisions, in our community and in our state and voting and all that. So I am a living testament that if you give your life over to God, and even if you are a millennial, God will bless everything you put your hand to, and He will make you be a living testimony to the generations before and after. So, love and respect. Like I said, after being 10 years married, there's just a few little nuggets that I have finally learned that have helped me not only stay married, but help through those times where my husband and I really did not think that we would make it. We really did not think that, we were called to this. We had gotten to the point where we were ready to break up, ready to divorce, and God really stepped in and not only changed our minds, but He downloaded so much wisdom because we took the time before signing those papers, before giving up on everything that we had built. My husband and I decided to go to God first before ending it all, and God restored and rejuvenated and did more with our marriage than we ever thought can be done. So what I want to do is give you guys a few tips from that period of our lives. We were ready to give it all up. And the very first thing that God highlighted to me was the fact that in the Bible, God is very specific when He talks about husbands and wives. God is extremely specific when He talks about husbands and wives, all right? And in the Bible, He says that wives are commanded to respect their husbands, while the husbands are commanded to love their wives. It was very specific in not saying that wives required respect and husbands required love. And why is that so? Why was God so very specific? Because He created man and woman very different. Men and women are not the same, and they should not be, because men and women have two different functionings. Women are the spirit, they are the emotional beings, they are the ones that bring and carry life, while the men are the ones that provide the seeds, the structure, the housing. You feel me? Men get the house, while women are the spirit of the home. Men think and operate on a different level than women. There is nothing wrong with different. Different does not mean wrong. They actually, when men operate in their God-given masculine energy and women operate in their God-given feminine energy, you'll actually find synchronicity. You actually find that you will operate in life way better. When you and a wife, if you do not try to be the husband, you let your husband be the husband. Husband, you do not try to be the wife, you will find that God will not only bless what you are doing, but He'll make everything easy. Why? Because we were created with two different functionings and with purpose, right? So, in the Bible, after the fall, men, one of the what we say curses, one of the consequences that men gained after eating the fruit, going back to Adam, one of the consequences was that the man would have to toil and work for food, work for basically everything that they did. Men were created, men's consequence would be that they would have to work and toil for things that used to just come easily. They would have to work for food. They would have to work for their shelter. But it's very specific in the Bible that God didn't call Eve to work. As one of the punishments for her fall, it said that Eve would suffer pain in childbearing. So we see there are two different functions between the man and the woman. A woman was created to give birth, to carry life, to give life and love. So women are emotional beings, while men are more structured and more to the point, less emotional and more. It's a word I'm looking for, but they're more, you know, not hard, but just more to the point. And because I'm a woman, it's kind of hard too to give that male perspective. I'm gonna have to bring my husband in on this, but we were called uh, to have two different functions. Um, and because of that, because God created women to be and to feel emotions, He said that husbands, you are commanded to love your wives. Because why a wife can thrive in an atmosphere where she is loved, and husbands thrive in atmospheres where he is respected, where his authority is not usurped, where his authority is established and known. And many people want to buck up against this, but we found that in the Bible there is a godly structure that works. And in this structure, many people have tried to flip it or turn it or make it to be what they want it to be. But God called for the husband to be the head and called for God to be over the husband. So there is a beautiful structure that we see. God has called families to follow this structure. He says that God should be above, before, in, and around everything. So we have God. We have the husband, we have the wife under the husband, and we have the children under the wife. This is the godly structure that God has called. Why? Because He's given authority for the husband to protect. Husbands are to protect and provide because they were given the strength and the knowledge to have authority over certain things. Men were called to protect and provide. That does not mean that only the man works. We see now in today's society that a lot of people feel like you cannot make it unless there are two incomes, right? Regardless of who is working or who makes more, when there is a man in the house, that man is the head of the home. While the wife is the one that creates the atmosphere because she is created to feel. Women have intuition. Women have amazing giftings that men do not. And oftentimes, that's why I said it's so imperative that a woman be able to flow and function in her femininity while the men get to flow and function in their masculinity. Because you'll find that there are amazing gifts that have been given to you according to your sex, according to how God created you, right? So men and women are created differently. I don't want to be a man. I was not created to be a man. I love being a woman. I love the fact that even as a woman, I too still hold authority, right? But my authority will never usurp my husband's. All right? So a lot of people say it's very chauvinistic and it's very old school and that doesn't work for today. Let me tell you, baby, if you call yourself a Christian, if you're going to follow God and follow His word, this is the structure that He has laid out. Why? Because God knows us better than we know ourselves. God knows how we were created and why we were created. God knew that He was the one that took a woman from the side of a man, from his rib, right? God had intentions on, why wives are created, right? So if you guys don't know, wives were created to be the helpmeet to husbands. Adam was out in the Garden of Eden, and he was with a whole bunch of animals. He was naming the animals and the plants, and day by day, God saw that Adam had grown lonely, and God saw that Adam needed something more than what he had already given him. And instead of God using the earth again, like He did to create the man, God created man from dirt and breathed life into it, but he did not do that to create a woman. Man came from dirt. Women came from the ribs of man. And God gave Adam what he needed from out of his own body. How beautiful is that? God didn't carve something. He didn't take a leaf from a tree. He didn't take the dirt of the ground. God didn't even take clay and make Adam his helpmeet. God specifically carved a woman out of man, which is why we have man and we have woe man. And many people say woe man is just a woman is just a man with a womb. Why? Because women were taken out of man. So we found God saw Adam was lonely and he desperately needed something different. And I believe God created Eve not only for Adam's pleasure, but for his sanity. So he wouldn't go through life and be alone. So we see this beautiful, beautiful picture. And because of the picture that we have there in Genesis of Adam and Eve, I wholeheartedly believe that your spouse, your wife, men, your wife is the one that God designed and literally had taken from your ribs. I believe that. People's spouses are designed long before they're both even born. I love my husband so much, and we're so in sync now that I truly believe that God created me from him. Because not only do I know this man's thoughts now, his heartbeat, the way that he breathes, the way that he thinks, the way that he moves. He and I are one. You know, and most of our relationship, most of our marriage, most of the fights that we go through only come from us struggling to get back to that point of us becoming one. Whew. I'm so glad that my husband and I did not give up in those times where we just did not feel like we were one. It took some time, and what I found was when I gave my husband the utmost respect, I got the best version of him. Wives, respect your husbands. What does respect look like? It looks literally like you not questioning every decision they make. It literally looks like you saying, all right, babe, wherever you go, I'll follow. And however I can support, that's what I will do. That's how you respect a man's authority. How do you respect him? By allowing for your husband to have a voice, to have a say in the home. Many women nowadays, because of distrust and different things that happen in relationship, many women have usurped their husbands. They now have taken the place of being the men in the home. They make every single decision. They don't ask their husbands. They do what they please. And we found there are many homes that are just out of order. They're just out of whack. Why? Because our men are not men anymore, and our women want to be men, and there is not an abundance of love and respect anymore. So how do you get, let's say, if your home is a home that has been turned upside down, and you know love does not reside there, respect does not reside there, you and your spouse can't even communicate anymore, you all fight like cats and dogs, or you're not speaking at all. How do you get from that place to the next? Let me tell you, wives, you're going to have to step back and ask God to restore your position, restore your husband's position as the man of the home, and restore your position as the spirit, the love of the home. First and foremost, Women, submission is not a curse word. Submission is actually your superpower. Because God will give your husband the vision for your family. But oftentimes, what God will do is give the husband A to Z viewpoint, but God will give the wives those those A, B, C, D, E, F, G. He'll give the wives the intricacies of the journey, while he'll give the husband the outline of it. But you two will never go to where God would have you to go if you two will never on one accord. If you all can never communicate, if you cannot respect each other, you cannot love each other, you cannot communicate, you will stay stagnant. I promise you, if you and your husband cannot get on one accord, your businesses will not thrive, your children will not thrive. Everything you do will remain stagnant until you and your husband become one. And often what that looks like is wives respecting your husbands and husbands love your wives. Men, find out your wife's love language. And you know what both of those things require? For a husband to love his wife and for a wife to respect her husband, both of those things require for you to set aside your pride. Wives, set aside your pride and say, I'm going to be quiet and let my husband speak. And men, set aside your pride and say, I'm going to cater to her emotional well-being. I'm going to find out how she likes or needs to be loved, and I will do that. If you are married to someone and you have not decided that you will put aside what you want for this other person, you guys should not be married. You shouldn't be married. If in your marriage, every decision you make is so that your well-being is taken care of and not your spouse's, you should not be married. Nope, not at all. Because marriage will cause you to sacrifice for someone else. Will sacrifice for someone else's well-being. You literally have to begin to think about somebody else. When you wake up in the morning, you cannot get up and do whatever you please and not think about this person that you have now said that you've dedicated yourself to. All right, y'all, I'm just throwing y'all some good nuggets. And these are for my married folks, for my people that are single or engaged. Y'all need to be writing this stuff down, right? Write it down. This will help you in all of your relationships. Love and respect are the center of all relationships. All right? I'm going to pause for the cause. We will be ending this in 2 more minutes. So I want to invite you all that are watching or that come on later. If you would like to be a show on, if you'd like to be a guest on this show, Millennial Marriages, with me, Denese Dillihant, go ahead, check at the bottom of the screen where it says to contact believeradiodenise@gmail.com. Go ahead and email me so we can get you into either the station or just have you on the show where you can talk about some things you have learned about love and life or what you would like to learn about love and life. Let's have you on the show and let's make it fun. This is Believe Radio Bay Area. Make sure you following us on all media platforms. Believe Radio Bay Area. Check us out, Facebook, Instagram, and whatnot. And go ahead and make sure you follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I am Denese Dillihant, your hostess with the mostest, with the Holy Ghostess. Yay! And today's show has been about love and respect, right? We will be back here next Saturday at 3 p.m. We will be live. Make sure that you tune in. And that'll be all for today's show. I said this would be a quick one. I want to drop y'all some nuggets, some things you can hold on to get you through the week. Men, love your wives like you never loved them before. Wives, respect your husbands in ways you never have before. And let that man lead. Let God be the ruler of your lives. Wives, let your husband be the authority. And husbands, allow your wives to be the love and the intuition that you need. You guys need each other. Love each other, respect each other. And join me next Saturday at 3 p.m. right here on Believe Radio Bay Area. Signing out. Love y'all.